Good Erev Shabbos, everybody. Rabbi Tarfon is one of the most remarkable people mentioned in the Gemara. Many of them are very remarkable if they're mentioned in the Gemara. But Rabbi Tarfon was very tall. He was extremely wealthy. The Gemara tells us that he was a student of Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. And when all the Chachamim, all the sages moved to Yavna, when they rebuilt Jewish life in Yavna, so he was one of the sages that really was involved in that under Rav Gamaliel II. He has many famous students such as Rav Yoshua, Rav Eliezer, Rav Yishmael, Rav Yehuda, Rav Yossi HaGalili, a lot of the names that you might learn if you're learning Gemara. So a lot of them were Rabbi Tarfon's students. Over 50 times the Mishnah mentions debates between Rabbi Rav Tarfon and Rabbi Akiva, and even when he was bested by Rabbi Akiva, so he gave, and the Kedushin tells us how he gave props. He was happy that he was bested because it was about truth in the end of the day, not just about winning an argument. He's the one who says the famous line in Pirkei Avos that Yom Katzer v'Hamalacha Meruba, that the day is short, but the work is great. So Rabbi Tarfon was a big name. When we learn Gemara, he was a big name sage. The Gemara in Kedushin tells us that the way he treated his mother was unbelievable. So it says that every day, he was so tall, but he would bend down so she could get out of her bed. And then when she had to get into the bed, so he would bend down again, and then she'd get into the bed on his back every single day. The Gemara in Yerushalmi and Kedushin, based on Tosfos' explanation, says that when one day she lost her shoe and she couldn't walk because of all the mud and the worried about her feet, she couldn't walk home. So what he did is he took his hands, like he cupped his hands, and she stepped on his hands, and she walked slowly until she was able to get home. In this week's parsha, the word Ekev, Rashi explains that Ekev means one of those commandments that people with a heel, since it means heel, that people with their heel might trample upon. So the Chafetz Chaim has a beautiful explanation of this. Chafetz Chaim says that, points to this Gemara, and he says, of all the greatness that Rav Tarfon has, all this greatness, he said, maybe those were all secondary to his kibbud av v'em, because only he could be the one to do these beautiful things for his mother. Only he. And because he was the son, nobody else would do these types of mitzvos for his mother. So all the other things, that was his purpose in earth. God had him do this because only he could do this. And all these other great things that he did, those were very important, but they were secondary into the world. And I was thinking about that when in life, we deal with sometimes some frustrating situations and sometimes frustrating people. And we never know whether the smallest thing that we do, maybe that's the reason that we're here. Maybe it's because of not all the great things. We could do a lot of great things in this world, and those are very important, but maybe that's not the most important. Maybe the most important thing you could do is that one small act. We see with Yosef that when Yosef was lost, the person just pointed Yosef in the right direction where his brothers, and the whole world changed. It could be just the smallest act, but that could be the main thing that you do in this world. It's a good thing to keep in mind whenever you're involved in something that's frustrating, maybe dealing with a parent or maybe dealing with a child, some sort of interaction that you have. You realize that maybe it's this one instance that only you could perform. That's the main thing in your life. And all the other great things that you do are very important, but not as important at this one moment. So for that, I wish you a good Shabbos.